Most people spend their lives torn between these two avatars. You try to be good, and you get exploited. You try to be ruthless, and you are consumed by guilt. On one hand, you have the Stoics. They tell you to endure, to accept, to retreat into the fortress of your own mind. On the other, you have Niccolò Machiavelli. He whispers that the world is a slaughterhouse, and if you do not hold the knife, you will be the meat. You oscillate between the saint and the tyrant, failing at both. Here is the truth neither side admits. Stoicism without power is just dissociation. It is a sedative for the conquered. But Machiavellianism without internal control is self-destruction. It is a fire that burns the arsonist. I'm going to show you that these are not opposing philosophies. They are two halves of a single dangerous weapon used by the most powerful figures in history. By the end of this video, you will not choose between them. You will learn the synthesis, the psychological architecture that allows you to operate with the ruthlessness of a prince, while sleeping with the conscience of a sage. But first, we must dismantle the myths you hold dear. Let's look at the world as it actually is, not as we wish it to be. If you walk into a boardroom, a political arena, or even a high-stakes negotiation, and you bring Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, you are bringing a shield to a gunfight. There is a reason Machiavelli is reviled in public but studied in private. The Prince was not written for the public. It was a job application. It was a secret manual on how to seize a state and hold it against internal and external enemies. The central tenet of Machiavelli is often misunderstood as the ends justify the means. That is too simplistic. The actual lesson is that morality is a luxury of stability. When the walls are breaching, kindness is not a virtue. It is a liability. Machiavelli argues that a leader who tries to be good in a world of bad men will inevitably come to ruin. This is not cynicism. This is physics. Consider the story of Cesare Borgia. Machiavelli didn't just invent his theories. He watched Borgia execute them in real time. Borgia had conquered the region of Romagna, but it was lawless. Robbery, feuds, chaos. The place was ungovernable. If Borgia had gone in with stoic patience, trying to lead by virtuous example, he would have been laughed at, then assassinated. Instead, he appointed a man named Ramiro de Orco, a cruel, efficient, ruthless man. Borgia gave him absolute power to clean up the streets. Ramiro did exactly that. He tortured, he executed, he terrified the population into submission. He established order through blood. The job was done. The region was safe. But now, the people hated Ramiro, and by extension, they were beginning to hate Borgia. A Stoic would ask, how do I bear this hatred? How do I remain virtuous? A Machiavellian asks, how do I use this hatred? One morning, the people of Cesena woke up to find a spectacle in the town square. There was Ramiro de Orco, or rather, two halves of him. Borgia had him cut in two and placed on a block of wood with a bloody knife beside him. The message was instant and surgical. Borgia took credit for the order, the safety, but he executed the cruelty. Ramiro. He signaled to the people, I am not the monster. He was, and I have saved you from him. Machiavelli wrote that the people were at once satisfied and stupefied. This is the cold reality of power. It requires a scapegoat. It requires theatrical violence. If you are strictly a Stoic, you view this as abhorrent. You retreat. You say, I would never. And that is why you remain an employee. That is why you are governed, not the governor. However, there is a trap here. A fatal error that the edgy internet Machiavellians make. They think being Ramiro de Orco is the goal. They think cruelty is power. It is not. Ramiro was a tool. He was reactive. He was emotional in his violence, and because he lacked the internal fortress, he became disposable. The true player was not the man holding the knife, nor the man on the block. It was the man watching from the balcony, Borgia. But how does a human being execute a man he employed, cut him in half, and then go eat breakfast? How does the mind survive its own ambition? This is where the cracks in Machiavelli appear, and this is where the dark necessity of Stoicism begins to bleed in. Let's turn the lens. Stoicism, in its modern, watered-down form, is marketed as a life hack for productivity. Cold showers and journaling. Amor fati. It has been commodified into a stress ball for the working class. Accept what you cannot control. This is dangerous advice if you misunderstand the perimeter of control. For the average person, Stoicism is a coping mechanism for powerlessness. Your boss berates you. It is what it is. The economy crashes and destroys your savings. The obstacle is the way. Used this way, Stoicism is operant conditioning for submission. It creates good workers, not great men. But the ancient Stoics, they were not submissive. Seneca was the tutor and advisor to Emperor Nero. He was one of the richest men in the Roman Empire. He wrote beautiful letters about the unimportance of wealth while lending money at usurious interest rates across the British provinces. Critics called him a hypocrite. I call him a realist. Seneca understood that philosophy is the anchor that keeps the ship from capsizing in a storm, but the ship still needs sails. The money, the power, the influence, those were the sails. Stoicism was just the ballast. But look at what happens when the external pressure exceeds the internal structure. Nero eventually turned on Seneca. The tyrant he helped mold became uncontrollable. When the order came for Seneca to commit suicide, he didn't run, he didn't beg, he didn't try a Machiavellian plot to assassinate Nero first. He opened his veins, he dictated his final philosophical thoughts as the blood drained out of him. He remained calm. He died well, but he still died. And here lies the central conflict of our inquiry. Machiavellianism focuses entirely on the external, the outcome, the perception, the power. Stoicism focuses entirely on the internal, the reaction, the judgment, the peace. If you follow Machiavelli 100%, you become paranoid. You see enemies everywhere. You interpret every handshake as a potential dagger. The cortisol levels alone will kill you before the assassins do. You lose your soul to save your skin. If you follow Stoicism 100%, you become inert. You accept injustice because you have convinced yourself that harm is only an opinion. You become a bystander in your own life, watching the world burn while you congratulate yourself on your temperature tolerance. You save your soul, but you lose the war. The history books are filled with dead Stoics and deposed Machiavellians. But there is a third category, the outliers. The ones who saw these systems not as religions, but as software. They realized that you can run both programs simultaneously, provided you know which one has admin privileges. Let's talk about Marcus Aurelius, the poster boy of Stoicism, the philosopher king. You read Meditations and you hear a gentle, tired man trying to be good. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. It sounds like he's talking about annoying neighbors. He wasn't. He was talking about the Roman Senate. He was talking about Germanic warlords trying to sever the heads of his legions. He was talking about his own brother, Lucius Verus, who was a drunkard and a liability. Marcus Aurelius was the absolute ruler of the known world. He didn't sit in a garden writing poetry. He spent the majority of his reign in a tent on the mud-soaked frontiers of the empire, commanding the most violent military machine in history. He ordered the slaughter of thousands. He suppressed rebellions. He played the game of power. Here is the secret. Meditations was not a book of philosophy. It was a containment field. Marcus Aurelius was a Machiavellian operator by day and a Stoic by night. He understood a profound psychological truth. To execute the harshness required to rule, one must possess an impenetrable inner calm. If you are emotional, you cannot be ruthless. You become cruel. There is a difference. Cruelty is emotional. It comes from anger, insecurity, sadism. Ruthlessness is clinical. It comes from necessity, calculation, logic. Ramiro de Orco was cruel. Cesare Borgia was ruthless. Marcus Aurelius used Stoicism to scrub the emotion out of his decision-making. When he had to crush an enemy, he didn't do it because he hated them. He did it because it was the nature of the world. He depersonalized the violence. This is the dark utility of Stoicism that the modern self-help gurus won't tell you. It doesn't just help you endure pain, it helps you inflict it without losing your mind. It allows you to fire the incompetent employee without feeling guilt. It allows you to cut off the toxic family member without hesitation. It allows you to negotiate for the higher salary without feeling greedy. Because you have removed the emotional judgment from the action, you have accepted that this is simply how the game is played. This is the synthesis, the Stoic prince. The person who navigates the external world with Machiavellian strategy, but governs their internal world with Stoic discipline. You use Machiavelli to read the room, to understand the power dynamics, to see the traps. You use Stoicism to keep your pulse slow when you spring the trap. Let's go deeper into the mechanics. How do you actually apply this? We need to talk about reputation. Machiavelli famously asked, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" His answer, "It is best to be both, but if one must choose, it is safer to be feared." Why? Because love is held by a chain of obligation which, men being selfish, is broken whenever it serves their purpose. But fear is maintained by a dread of punishment which never fails. A pure Stoic doesn't care about reputation. What others think of me is none of my business. This is catastrophic advice for the real world. In a hierarchy, what people think of you is your business. It determines your access to resources, your mating prospects, your safety. If you ignore reputation, you are invisible. But here is the nuance. If you are addicted to the validation of others, the trap of the narcissist, you are easily manipulated. Anyone who flatters you owns you. Anyone who insults you controls you. The synthesis approach is this. You cultivate a reputation carefully, Machiavelli, but you detach your self-worth from it, Stoicism. You curate the mask. You decide what the public sees. You project competence, perhaps a touch of danger. You let them fear you slightly. You let them love you when it is useful. But behind the mask, silence. You do not believe your own press release. When they cheer, you are indifferent. When they boo, you are indifferent. This makes you unshakable. Most people fail because their mask is glued to their face. When the mask cracks, their ego shatters. The synthesis allows you to treat your public persona as an asset, like a stock portfolio or a piece of real estate. You manage it. You optimize it, but you are not it. This is how you survive the modern digital panopticon. We live in an age of hypervisibility. Everything is recorded. One mistake, one wrong tweet, and the mob comes for you. The purely Machiavellian approach to this is to be a shapeshifter, constantly changing your opinions to please the crowd. You become hollow. The purely Stoic approach is to ignore the mob and get cancelled, fired, and ostracized. The synthesis? You observe the mob. You understand its triggers. You speak its language. You maneuver through the chaos without becoming part of it. You are in the crowd, but not of it. You view the social hierarchy as a biological system. It has rules, it has predators, it has prey. You don't get angry at the shark for being a shark, but you also don't jump in the water bleeding. Now, a warning. There is a concept in dark psychology called virtue signaling. We all know it. But let's look at the weaponized version, virtue camouflage. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not necessary for a prince to have all the virtues, but it is very necessary to appear to have them." He lists them: mercy, faith, integrity, humanity, religion. He says you must seem to be all these things, but you must be ready to be the opposite when the wind turns. This creates a cognitive dissonance for most people. We are raised to believe that hypocrisy is the ultimate sin. But look at the most effective leaders in your company, in your government. They speak of community, family, transparency. But when the quarterly earnings are threatened, they execute layoffs with mathematical precision. Are they evil or are they effective? The Stoic in you wants to judge them. The Stoic in you wants to say, "I am better than them because I am honest." But are you, or are you just harmless? There is a quote often misattributed, but the sentiment is pure dark truth. I would rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Stoicism is the garden. Machiavellianism is the sword. You need the garden to have a place to rest, to have something worth fighting for, to keep your humanity intact. But without the sword, the garden is just a waiting room for someone else's conquest. The problem with modern nice guys is that they think their lack of claws is a virtue. It isn't. It's just a lack of claws. If you cannot do harm, your decision to be good is not a moral choice. It's a biological default. You must be capable of the Machiavellian maneuver. You must understand how to manipulate, how to deceive, how to crush. And then you must use your stoic discipline to choose not to until it is absolutely necessary. That is the definition of dangerous. That is the definition of powerful. We have the theory. Now we build the framework. To operate as a stoic prince, you must internalize 3 specific laws. These are not moral commandments. They are mechanics. They are the gears that allow you to grind through resistance without wearing down your own engine. Law 1, the law of asymmetry. Machiavelli teaches, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Stoicism teaches, retreat into your own little territory of silence. Combine them. In every interaction, there is an information economy. The person who speaks the most pays the most. The person who reveals their emotions is bleeding currency. Most people are desperate to be understood. They over-explain. They broadcast their intentions. They get angry to show they are serious. They cry to show they are hurt. They are open books in a room full of illiterates and thieves. The synthesis demands asymmetry. You must know everything about them, their insecurities, their ambitions, their fears. They must know nothing about you except what you carefully select for them to see. When you are angry, your face should be blank. When you are excited, your voice should be steady. When you are terrified, your posture should be relaxed. This is not repression. Repression is hiding it from yourself. This is containment. You feel the emotion, stoic, but you deny the world the satisfaction of seeing it, Machiavelli. When your opponent cannot read you, they project their own fears onto you. You become a mirror, and people are terrified of mirrors. Law 2, the premeditation of treachery. The Stoics have a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. You visualize everything going wrong so that when it happens, you are not shocked. Machiavelli would take this a step further. Do not just visualize bad luck. Visualize betrayal. Assume your business partner will steal from you. Assume your best friend will envy your success. Assume the alliance will break. This sounds paranoid. It isn't. It is the only way to love people safely. If you expect loyalty as a default, you will be destroyed when it is absent. You will become bitter. You will hate humanity. But if you expect self-interest, you are never disappointed. You are only prepared. When the betrayal comes, you don't gasp. You don't scream, "How could you?" You nod. You say, "I saw this coming at mile marker 6, and because you saw it coming, you have already built the contingency. You have the leverage ready. You have the exit strategy. You handle the betrayal with the clinical detachment of a surgeon removing a tumor. No drama, just incision. Law 3. Aggressive amor fati. Nietzsche, a student of both schools, coined amor fati, love of fate. The Stoic accepts the fire. The Machiavellian uses the fire. When disaster strikes, you lose the job, the relationship ends, the market crashes. The synthesis does not just say, "I accept this." It says, "I can use this." This is the ultimate alchemy. Your reputation is ruined. Good. Now you are free from the expectations of others. You can operate in the shadows. You are fired. Good. You were stagnating anyway. Now you have the desperation required to build the empire. You do not just endure the chaos, you metabolize it. You turn the energy of the attack into the fuel for your counterattack. Let's move from the abstract to the concrete. The boardroom, the social circle, the relationship. The modern world is soft, but the underlying dynamics are still primal. We just swapped swords for lawsuits and poison for HR complaints. Scenario A. The corporate sabotage. You are in a high-performance environment. You have a colleague. Let's call him Elias. Elias smiles at you. He goes to lunch with you. But in meetings, he subtly undermines your points. He accidentally leaves you off email chains. He frames your ideas as his own. The average person gets emotional. They confront Elias. Why are you doing this? Elias denies it. He gaslights. You're imagining things, friend. Now you look crazy. You look emotional. You lose status. The Stoic ignores Elias. He acts according to his nature. I will just do my work well. Result: Elias continues to steal credit. You do the work. He gets the promotion. You maintain your virtue, but you lose your livelihood. The Machiavellian spreads rumors about Elias. He hacks his computer. He plays dirty. Result: maybe you win, maybe you get caught and fired. It's high risk. The synthesis, the outlier, plays it differently. Stoic phase. You feel the anger rising. You acknowledge it. You dismantle it. You realize Elias is not a villain. He is a competitor. It is not personal. It is just resource acquisition. You remove your ego from the equation. Machiavellian phase. You engage the law of asymmetry. You become friendlier to Elias. You draw him closer. You praise him in public. Why? Because when you praise someone, you lower their guard. You make them think they have fooled you. The trap. You wait. You document. You let him steal a trap idea, an idea you know will fail, or you wait for him to overextend. The strike. When he makes his move, you do not attack him. You simply step aside and let the weight of his own incompetence crush him. And because you praised him, no one suspects you. You killed him with kindness. You remain the good guy in the eyes of the tribe, social proof, while ruthlessly eliminating the threat, power. Scenario B, the power dynamic in relationships. This is uncomfortable, but we must go there. In every relationship, there is a balance of power. The person who needs the other least holds the power. The purely Machiavellian approach is toxic. It involves dread game, manipulation, intentional jealousy. It destroys trust. The purely Stoic approach is often too detached. It can feel cold, unloving, indifferent. The synthesis is sovereignty. You love fully. You give. You are present. But you maintain a fortress of the self that no one can enter. You do not make the other person your God. You do not make them the source of your happiness. You apply the Stoic principle of autarkia, self-sufficiency. This makes you incredibly attractive. Neediness is repulsive. Sovereignty is magnetic. By not trying to control them, Stoic, but having complete control over yourself, Machiavelli, you inadvertently gain the upper hand. They chase you because you are the mountain, immovable, solid, grounded. You are not playing games. You are simply not dependent. That is the most dangerous form of power, the power of not needing anything. Now we reach the difficult part, the part most channels skip. If you adopt this path, if you marry the fox and the lion to the sage, you will change. You will lose the ability to relate to the masses. You will walk into a room and you will not see people having a party. You will see hierarchies. You will see insecurity masking as confidence. You will see the puppet strings. It can be incredibly lonely. It is the loneliness of the adult at the children's table. You will see your friends complaining about problems they created, and you will know exactly how to solve them, but you will also know they don't want solutions. They want pity. You will see politicians and recognize the script they are reading from The Prince, chapter 18. The danger here is nihilism. When you see the machinery behind the curtain, the magic show loses its wonder. You might ask, why bother? If it's all just power games and biological imperatives, what is the point? This is where the Stoicism must save you from the Machiavellianism. Machiavelli teaches you how to play the game. Stoicism teaches you why to play. You play not just to win. Winning is temporary. The empire will fall. The money will rot. The reputation will fade. You play because participation is the tribute we pay to existence. Marcus Aurelius didn't want to be emperor. He wanted to be a philosopher, but fate put him on the throne. He could have run. He could have been a tyrant. Instead, he played the hand he was dealt with absolute excellence. He accepted the burden, stoic, and executed the duty, Machiavellian. You follow this path not to become a monster, but to become a guardian. Because the world is full of monsters, real ones, people who use these dark tactics with zero conscience, people who will hurt the innocent, the weak, and the naive. If good men are too weak to hold the sword, the wicked will rule by default. This is the ultimate justification for the synthesis. You learn the dark arts not to practice evil, but to recognize it, to intercept it, and to destroy it. You become the monster so that you can kill the monsters. So, which one should you follow? The question is flawed. It assumes you are one thing. You are not a noun. You are a verb. You are a process. You are a fluid capacity for violence and a rigid capacity for peace. If you leave this video and choose only Stoicism, you will be a saint in a cell. If you choose only Machiavelli, you will be a king in a cage of your own paranoia. The outlier chooses neither and both. The outlier builds the internal citadel, impregnable, calm, rational, and from the gates of that citadel, he sends out the armies of strategy, deception, and force to reshape the world. You must be cold enough to see the truth. You must be hard enough to endure the blow, and you must be smart enough to strike back. This is not a path for the lazy. It requires constant vigilance. It requires you to watch your own mind as closely as you watch your enemies. But the reward is true agency. For the first time in your life, you are not reacting to the world. The world is reacting to you.
Reason is not a shield from the darkness, but a lantern to navigate it. Here, we explore the hidden forces that rule us all.